Franky's dream seems simple. Build a ship that sails around the world. But what if that dream isn't just about adventure? What if it's about rebuilding something lost? A forgotten ship from the void century? A vessel designed to carry the will of the world itself? Because when you connect Franky's dream to the Thousand Sunny, the ancient weapons, and the end of the Grand Line, it starts to look like Franky's role in Luffy's journey might be the most important of all. To really understand why Franky's dream might be the key to the One Piece, we need to go back, long before the Thousand Sunny, before the Straw Hats, and even before Franky was Franky. He was Cutty Flam, a wild, brilliant kid in Water 7, a city built on craftsmanship and engineering. He didn't dream of treasure or glory, he dreamed of creation. While others built ships for trade or war, Franky wanted to build freedom. He built massive battleships, not for power, but because he believed that strength was the only way to protect what mattered. But that dream, that raw, innocent passion, led to tragedy. His mentor Tom wasn't just any shipwright, he was the shipwright. The man who built the Oral Jackson, Gold D. Rogers' ship, the only vessel to ever reach Laugh Tale. When the world government discovered this, they branded Tom a criminal. And when the government used one of Franky's own ships to frame him, it broke something in Franky forever. That moment wasn't just a turning point in his life, it was symbolic. It represented how the world government destroys creators who carry the will of freedom. The same way they tried to erase O'Hara scholars for uncovering truth or Vegapunk for reviving lost knowledge. Franky became part of that same lineage. People who build while the world government erases. After Tom's death, Franky was mangled in an accident trying to stop the government train. But instead of dying, he rebuilt himself literally. He used the scrap metal and machine parts to reconstruct his body, fusing man and machine, symbolizing the very theme of One Piece, rebirth through ruin. Where the world government destroys, Franky rebuilds. That act of turning pain into invention is what makes Franky's dream so profound. He doesn't just want to build a ship, he wants to build something that can't be erased, a vessel that can survive anything. Time, war, the government, even the end of the world itself. And that's what led to the creation of the Thousand Sunny. When Franky joined the Straw Hats, he didn't just become their shipwright, he became their architect of destiny. The Sunny isn't an ordinary ship. It was crafted from atom wood, an incredibly rare material said to come from trees that have lived since the ancient kingdom. Wood so strong it can withstand the fury of the seas and time itself. The same material used for Roger's ship, the Oral Jackson. That's no coincidence. It's a continuation. The will of shipwrights, Tom, then Franky, mirrors the will of the D's, an unbroken chain of creation stretching from the Pirate King to the next. And when Franky said, "This ship will sail to the end of the world," he wasn't exaggerating. It's as if he knows or feels that the Sunny was meant for something far greater than exploration. The Thousand Sunny has always been alive in a sense, a ship that laughs, that carries the crew through impossible odds, that never breaks even under fire from the most powerful forces in the world. It's almost like the ship itself carries a will, an echo of the spirit that once guided the Oral Jackson, and before that, perhaps even something from the Void Century. Because here's the strange part. The deeper you go, the more everything about Franky's story starts to parallel the lost era of the ancient kingdom, a time said to be filled with advanced technology, shipwrights capable of building vessels that could traverse the entire world, maybe even fly or die beneath the red line. If the Void Century was truly a war between freedom and control, then men like Franky are echoes of that old world, the builders who refused to let the world's truth sink beneath the waves. So when Franky declared his dream, "I want to build a ship that sails around the world," it wasn't just ambition, it was prophecy. It was a forgotten dream resurfacing wrapped in steel, wood, and laughter. When you really start connecting the dots, Franky's dream becomes something much bigger than shipwright pride. It becomes a bridge to the forgotten technology of the ancient kingdom. Because here's the thing, Franky isn't just a builder, he's a guardian of knowledge. When he inherited Tom's legacy, he also inherited something far more dangerous, the blueprints from the ancient weapon Pluton. Those blueprints weren't just pieces of paper. They were the last safeguard of an ancient technology so powerful that the world government feared its very existence. Tom said he kept them as a countermeasure, not to use the weapon, but to ensure the world could rebuild it if the government ever resurrected it first. When the blueprints ended up in Franky's hands, he made a decision that defined him forever. He burned them. To most people, that moment seems simple, an act of defiance to keep a dangerous weapon out of the wrong hands. But if you think about it, it's also symbolic. It's the moment Franky chose creation over destruction. The moment he said, the world doesn't need Pluton, it needs ships like the Sunny. But what if that choice, that exact moment, is what makes Franky's role so crucial to the end game of One Piece? Because the deeper we look, the more hints Otis drops that the Thousand Sunny itself may be connected to the ancient weapon technology. Think about it. The ship was built from atom wood, a material likely from the same age as the ancient kingdom. It was constructed using modern engineering mixed with impossible craftsmanship, techniques that Franky himself barely understood. He just felt how to build it. And somehow, despite every battle, every explosion, every time they sailed through hell, the Sunny remains untouched, almost alive. This isn't just craftsmanship, it's something deeper, something that feels like a lost art rediscovered. Now remember, in Water 7, Franky spent years studying those Pluton blueprints before he burned them. He memorized them, he dissected them, learned from them. He didn't destroy the knowledge, he internalized it. So what if, without realizing it, Franky built the Sunny using principles from Pluton itself? Not a weapon of war, but a ship that could withstand the end of the world. A ship that could go anywhere, even in places no human has ever reached. And that idea starts making even more sense when you consider the reoccurring theme of ships carrying dreams. Roger's ship carried the will of the Pirate King, the Earl Jackson crossed the seas and reached Laugh-Tale, and now the Thousand Sunny carries Luffy, the man destined to challenge the world itself. The through line between those ships might not just be symbolism, it might be engineering lineage. A chain of shipwrights who's been unknowingly preserving the ancient kingdom's lost technology across generations. Time learned from the masters of the past, Franky learned from time. And the Sunny might be the next evolution, a vessel capable of settling in the new world that comes after the One Piece is found. There's even one more layer that most fans miss. In Enies Lobby, when Franky was introduced, he wasn't just a cyborg for cool factor. He's a living metaphor for the blend of man and machine, exactly the kind of fusion rumored to exist during the ancient kingdom's technological peak. Maybe Franky's obsession with mechanics isn't random. Maybe it's instinct, a subconscious echo of the lost civilization's spirit manifesting in him. And the Sunny is not just a ship, it's a symbol of rebirth, a modern relic of the same dream that once guided the ancient kingdom before the world government buried it under 800 years of lies. If that's true, then Franky didn't just build a ship to carry the Straw Hats to Laugh-Tale. He built a ship that will carry humanity into its next age. If you look at Franky through the lens of both psychological and philosophy, he's more than a shipwright. He's a reflection of humanity's creative spirit when it's pushed to the edge. Franky's story echoes a truth seen throughout history. When the world tries to suppress progress, the most brilliant minds build in secret. Think about it, whether it's inventors like Nikola Tesla, artists like Leonardo da Vinci, or engineers working under oppressive regimes, innovation often blooms where freedom is most restricted. That's the heart of Franky's character. He was raised in a world that punished invention. The world government labeled knowledge itself a crime. Shipwrights like Tom were executed not for building weapons, but for daring to build something great. And yet, instead of fear, Franky inherited defiance. He represents the will of creation, the same way Luffy represents the will of freedom. Where Luffy breaks chains, Franky builds bridges, literally and metaphorically. He doesn't destroy the past, he reconstructs it into something new. So when we ask whether Franky's dream might be the key to One Piece, maybe it's not about an ancient weapon or some buried technology. Maybe it's about humanity's oldest dream, the urge to create something beautiful that outlasts the storm. Here's where everything ties together and where Franky's dream becomes something far greater than we ever realized. Because when you look at his story through the lens of history, you start to see a repeating pattern. The ships of great eras are never just vessels, they're bridges between worlds. Roger's ship, the Earl Jackson, carried the truth of the world to the end of the Grand Line. Tom built it using knowledge passed down from the ancient craftsmen, knowledge that might have originated in the void century. And now, Franky has crafted the Sunny, A ship made from the same legendary wood as the Atom Tree, wood said to last forever. That's not a coincidence, that's a lineage. What if Franky's dream to build a ship that could truly sail anywhere is tied to the dawn of the world itself? The One Piece isn't just a treasure, it's a unification of the seas, of nations, of knowledge lost of 800 years. To achieve that, you need something or someone capable of crossing every barrier, both physical and symbolic. The Thousand Sunny might be that key. Oda has hinted again and again the ships in One Piece aren't just transport, they're embodiments of dreams. And Franky's dream, unlike the others, isn't about personal glory or freedom. It's about building something that outlives him, a ship that will carry the world into its next era, just as the Oro Jackson carried the last. When Roger's crew reached Laugh Tale, their ship fulfilled its purpose and the age ended. When Luffy's crew reaches it again, the Sunny's journey may do more than complete a dream, it may awaken the world. So maybe Franky's true role isn't just a shipwright. Maybe he's the architect of the new dawn, the man who unknowingly built the vessel destined to carry Joy Boy's will, Roger's legacy, and the world's final hope to its rebirth. Because in the end, Franky didn't just build a ship, he built the future. If the Thousand Sunny truly is the ship of the new dawn, then Franky isn't just a straw hat. He's one of the most important people in the world, because what he built represents something far greater than steel, wood, or dreams. It represents freedom engineered. The world government's greatest fear isn't Luffy's power, Zoro's sword, or Robin's knowledge. It's innovation. It's the idea that someone could create something the government can't control, something capable of crossing their walls, both literal and political. And that's exactly what Franky did. When Franky destroyed the blueprints of Pluton, he didn't destroy the weapon, he redefined it. He took the knowledge of destruction and turned it into creation. The Thousand Sunny isn't Pluton's successor, it's its opposite. Where Pluton was meant to conquer, the Sunny was meant to connect. That's the paradox at the heart of the Void Century. A world destroyed by its own inventions, now waiting for a ship built on compassion, not conquest. Imagine the moment when the red line falls, when the seas unite into one. Who's the first to sail across the new world? It won't be the Marines. It won't be the world government. It'll be the Straw Hats aboard the ship that defied them all. In that moment, Franky's dream to build a ship that can truly sail the world becomes prophecy. The Sunny becomes the first vessel to cross the unified sea. It becomes the bridge between the old world and the new, between darkness and dawn. Franky's journey reminds us that the greatest revolutions don't always start with swords or crowns. Sometimes they start with the builder, a craftsman, and a dream strong enough to carry the weight of the entire world. Because when the world finally changes, it'll be on the deck of the ship he built. In the end, Franky's story isn't just about ships or dreams. It's about transformation. He started as a wrecked soul, left to drift in the ruins of Water 7, a man who lost his mentor, his home, and even his humanity piece by piece. But instead of breaking, he rebuilt himself literally. That's what makes Franky one of the most quietly powerful characters in all of One Piece. His dream didn't come from royalty or destiny. It came from craftsmanship, from choosing to create something lasting, even when the world took everything from him. Where others fight with swords or ideals, Franky fights with innovation. He proves that progress, real human progress, doesn't come from weapons of war or bloodline of power. It comes from people who build, people who believe they can leave something better behind. And maybe that's the hidden genius of Oda's storytelling. The fact that the key to the world's greatest treasure might not be found in ancient weapons or lost prophecies, but in the hands of a shipwright who just wanted the ship to sail forever. Because when the One Piece is finally found, when the world is reborn, it'll be Franky's creations that carry them there. And in that moment, his dream would have done what no government, no god, no ancient weapon ever could. It will have built freedom itself.